Hello, everyone, and welcome to USN TravelTalk, the last one, actually, this when we're speaking about 2022, and a new coffee break. And I'm having a coffee break with Nick from Destination Asia in Singapore. Welcome, Nick.
Hello, Christine. Thank you so much for having us. Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone. This is afternoon in Singapore. I'm Nick from Destination Asia, Singapore.
Yeah. And it's nice to have you, and especially because we're talking about these, tunnels or funnels or corridors and everything, and suddenly we can see that us Scandinavians can start traveling down to Singapore. We're going to talk a little bit. We have a short presentation or like a couple of slides, which makes it easy for people to read out as well. But first, Nick, how is life in Singapore at the moment?
I'm pleased to share with you. Christine, I'm pleased to share with you. Life is normal, back to normal. We go to the markets, we go to the malls, everything. It's generally, life is normal. We have very low cases. Transmission. We're living with the endemic, and then we are very, very, very back to normal in an environment. I generally go shopping. I go to the theaters. I go for musicals. I go to the attractions. So generally, everything is really back to normal. So the only probably new thing that we have is just that we are currently wearing masks.
Okay, so you do basically what most of the other things. Oh, I saw Nick tuning out. He's going back. I know he has a little bit of an issue on the Wi-Fi at the moment, but this is life. This is life in technical age. No worries, Nick.
Apologies, everyone. This is life in technical. The tech world. Bring it to normal now. Everything. It's all the shops are open, restaurants are open. Everything is back to normal. So there's nothing really.
So you only wear face masks, basically. You wear face masks. Do you still keep the distance? Do you keep distance like in restaurants and stuff like that?
It is encouraged. Yeah. It is encouraged to have a social distancing of 1 meter. So, but generally the malls are packed, the theaters are packed, but we just need to be socially responsible. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. And the face mask. So when we're coming, we just need to remember the face mask, basically.
Yes.
Do you use any COVID passport like we have? We have reintroduced it in the probably whole Scandinavia, that we have this app which we need to show either if we vaccinated or have a negative test within the last 48 hours. Or
so generally we have what you call that app as well. That's called Trace Together. So this contains all your vaccination information, as well as when you visit certain enclosed area, you just need to do a virtual check-in to record your presence within, and then you'll be alerted to if there is a positive case, so that you'll be safe. So generally that's a very good app that we highly recommend.
Okay, so when we come as a visitor, if I was coming to Singapore now, I had to download that app and just
you need to download
my information.
You do need to download the app, and then the app will be pretty much your go-to app when you visit around the places, because we are still practicing safe management. So you need to do a check-in probably at one of the restaurants, just to make sure that there's a record that, if assuming that you do come in contact. Yep. Yeah. Similar in Denmark, I'm sure.
Yeah. We had it where we had to do it, and then I think they're back again in Denmark and Norway as well, I think, and I think Sweden is looking at doing it. So they're a little bit different rules depending on the country, but at the moment they're locking down more than actually going out. So Scandinavia is. I see. I have Terje from Norway here on the chat. So. And they just announced that restaurants has to close by midnight, but they're not allowed to serve any alcohol at all now. At all. So that means a lot of basically a soft lockdown they're looking at because of the new variant. Yeah. But let's start on a presentation on that, because we keep it on our 15 minutes so people can have their coffee break and coming back to work. I'm going to do that and operate a little bit on this one. So, of course, we got Destination Asia and Singapore. And I think many has been in Singapore. But let's go back to these, what do we call them?
It's our roadmap to reopening.
Yep.
So generally, this slides will be just showing you an overview information for quarantine-free travel to Singapore. So for the Scandinavian market, you probably just have 3 countries on it, which is I will highlight Denmark, Finland, as well as Sweden.
Yep.
Basically, it's purely because that you need to apply for a vaccinated travel pass, as well as book a VTL flight direct into Singapore. So just to make things really easy and light, you just need to know that it's based on the country of the origin and not based on the nationality.
Right. But that means, again, like I said, I got Terry who's Norwegian, and he maybe then wants to go to Singapore. But Norway is not on that map, and it's not seems to be on the future either of the countries. If we look at, from 13th of December or 14th of December, it might, of course, coming in 2022, of course. But at the moment, he wants to go to Singapore. And of course, he can travel. It's an hour flight to Copenhagen from Norway, and it's a direct flight from Copenhagen. But there is some things, precautions on for me to traveling or for him to travel.
I think generally you just need to make sure that you are vaccinated, as well as assuming you're traveling from Norway to Copenhagen, you need to spend a minimum of 2 weeks in Copenhagen before you can actually travel to Singapore. So that's the minimum requirements.
Yeah. So that basically means either you work from home or basically like that from Copenhagen, or you need to spend 2 weeks in one of those countries. If you want to travel to Singapore, you're not on the list, you need to spend 2 weeks minimum in any of those countries. Basically, you can say it doesn't need to be Denmark, but of course it could be any of these countries, and before you can travel to Singapore.
Yes, correct. That's very true.
Yeah. So what you said again, of course, we have to do vaccination. I would say in Scandinavia, it's not that much of a problem because we have like almost 80% vaccinated at the moment. But we need to fill in some forms as well.
Well, generally, if you see on the bottom right-hand corner, there is actually an accessible link that we have provided. So that's a quick fill-in questions that before you are able to, whether are you eligible to apply for a vaccinated travel pass. Okay. So it's pretty straightforward. You just need to fill in the blanks or pick from the drop-down box, and then you will be able to know whether are you eligible to apply for a vaccinated travel pass. Okay. So it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. But basically, you just have to be vaccinated, traveling from one of those countries. And if you're not the nationality of those countries, you need to at least be 2 weeks. Or if you're not resident in one of these countries, you need to at least be 2 weeks in the country before you can travel. And then you have to fill in some arrival forms as well, isn't it?
Yeah, everything's gone digital. So there is an arrival card that you can complete prior to your departure. So everything is basically digital. You don't need to fill up the hard copies of the form. You can do so. You can upload all the necessary documents onto the portal. So once you have an arrival or when you leave for example, Copenhagen itself, generally your documentations will already be in the system. You just need to present it at the check-in counter. Yeah.
Or you can do the app as well and just show them digitally. Yes. You don't need to print and destroy another rainforest.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. I think the digital age has come a long way, and then we should be moving towards that in this post-pandemic period.
Knock on wood that we do on that. We talked about, like I said, we talked also about earlier when you and me talked about Destination Asia has added their 11 travel styles. So a lot of the product is fitting into one of these, let's say, boxes in one way. We can call it.
I think generally we make things a lot easier during this downtime. We have revamped and then we come up with 11 different travel styles to make it easier for the traveler to suit their travel styles and tastes. Everyone have an individual preference. So my preference, obviously, for Singapore, I will highly recommend like culinary. We have like 44 Michelin star restaurants in Singapore, an extensive array of local life in Singapore as well is one thing, as well as luxury. So we do emphasize a lot of this in our travel style products. It makes it easier for people who are intending to travel to Singapore to know what are the offerings available. And we are not crazy rich Asian, Christine, but we do offer very, very affordable
luxury
products.
product. Yeah. And I would say, like
do.
you said, culinary is fantastic. You can spend a week just eating around and going from, like I said, I done a couple of the markets. I actually have a friend of mine who's been living in Singapore for a long time, a Norwegian friend of mine, actually way back from school. Who is living in Singapore, and we went to one of the markets, and you have excellent food, on these market stalls as well, and at the same time you can go to like a Michelin high-end restaurant for dinner and move around like that very easily. And you used to also go and sit and have drinks or have tea actually at the Arab Street over in the mornings there as well with him in the more
so it's a
Muslim
huge
area.
variety. It's a huge variety, it's from all walks of life. Generally, you'll be spoiled for choice, Christine.
Exactly. So I think that's definitely one of the good part with Singapore. And like you said, local life, because people think maybe about Singapore as very, of course, a tourist city in one way, because it's very dense and you will have tourists coming there. But I think the nice things, and I've been down with the travel agents, for fam trips and stuff to Singapore on my own as well. But it's so nice to do these trips where you can excursion where you walk, because that's when you really get into local life and talk to people actually, or see more.
Yeah, you get an immersive feeling. You do get an immersive feeling because it's so easy, and pretty much everyone speaks English, and then the signs are all in English as well. So moving around, traveling around on your own, it's a breeze.
Yeah, it is. So when we're then going, of course, we talked about luxury. So and I can see we're having around 4 or 5 minutes left. But I would say, which is the nicest new hotel coming up in Singapore?
Definitely the Raffles. We definitely showcase the Raffles. So we already have the Raffles, which is in the city, but we are going to have another Raffles, which is on the Sentosa Island itself. And that's a very, very exciting property that we're looking forward to. 61 luxury villas. There's no rooms, it's only villas that overlooks the South China Sea. And then for those who are into the lifestyle, we're going to have an addition in Singapore as well. So that's part of the big Marriott chain property, as well as Pullman properties as well. So you're going to be spoiled for choice. And again, a very, very comprehensive selection of properties, new hotels opening in 2022. And then this is something that we are working very closely with our new partners that's going to be coming on board in 2022. So really exciting times for us.
Okay. And if we're going to do one of the new excursions is coming up, I can see there's some new attractions coming up. So if you should recommend one of them, which one would you say?
Christine, that's all. You should try every single one. You can't just do one. But for me, like we shared earlier, I think that the slingshot will be something that's really, really nice and exciting. It catapults the guests up right into the sky, and then you get a panoramic, unblocked view of the whole entire Singapore city. Plus the adrenaline junkie. You're gonna be in for an adrenaline rush. Have a couple of drinks after that. Go on a ride for it.
Yeah. But the sky here, Alexis, also sounds good because you got this really good view as well, isn't it, from there over the whole of Singapore? Yeah,
correct.
I just see actually Taddy is asking one, and he's the Norwegian one I talked about. He said he had a colleague who recently traveled to Singapore, and he had to stay in hotel quarantine when he arrived. Is that depending on where you're coming from?
No, that's probably depending on which application that the colleague might have applied to. So we still have passengers, or we still have people who need to serve quarantine. So it largely depends on what kind of passes he or she actually applied to. Okay.
So what kind of pass can you apply to is my question then.
So currently for quarantine-free travel, you have to qualify for the VTP, which is the vaccinated travel pass. That's the only one presently that you enjoy quarantine-free travel into.
Okay. So if you are eligible for that, then you have no quarantine, or else if you're traveling, then you have to quarantine.
If you are here probably on business, or if you apply to a different scheme, then you might need to serve quarantine.
Okay. So you would say leisure would be fine on doing on the quarantine free or the VKL kind of like flights out of Copenhagen. As long as... But business, they might, if they apply for a business travel kind of thing, they might need to quarantine.
Correct.
Hope that kind of answered your question, Tarja. I'll see if you answer back. But I said we talked about the Sky Helix in Tulsa as well, and the Slingshot, of course. And then I think we are basically, if you're going to do the basic things to remember before we ending off here. So what we're saying, you need to remember
a few key points that you need to share. I mean, for people traveling, number one, obviously, you need to be vaccinated, and then you do need to make sure that you have travel insurance to cover your stay in Singapore. Things you need to expect when you arrive into Singapore is that there is a pre-arrival test that you need to go through. And then, of course, mobile data is something very, very important this time of age. Stay connected. That's very important. And then you need to do contact tracing as well when you go to places as well. Now, there's one thing probably not many people will remember is that mask wearing is still mandatory here in Singapore, but it's actually a very normal thing already, you know. And then we still practice safe distancing to be socially responsible. And then just the last two key points is that we encourage people to practice good hygiene, keep yourself clean, sanitized. And lastly, Singapore is a very, very warm destination, so keep yourself hydrated. Yeah.
And can I just ask on this on the good hygiene, is there sanitizers everywhere like most other places? Like you have sanitizer boxes and you can sanitize, basically.
Major mall, restaurants, and public areas in general that you visit would have bottled sanitizers as well.
Brilliant.
So before you enter, after you have exit as well, you do need to get sanitized.
Okay, excellent. I think that people getting so used to it anyway. We're used to having a mask with us. Like in Scandinavia, it's been on and off, but we still, travel with mask. We travel with hand sanitizer in our bags. So I think that's going to stay for quite more time, and people just getting used to it. I think it is. And I'm looking forward to be able to come and see you in face, Nick.
Please.
I like Singapore. Like I said, it's a really nice place to go. I like it and I discover new things every time I'm coming. So I look forward.
Yes. I look forward to seeing you, Christine, and everyone from the Scandinavian part of the world. But please feel free to reach out to us at Singapore here. We are here to help, and we're here to support. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to Christine or myself.
Yeah, and then we can just actually, since we are the last ones doing the last talk, we can wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Yes, season's greetings. Merry Christmas to everyone. Have a happy holidays and stay safe and stay well.
Yep. And have a nice holidays as well, Nick.
You take care, Christine. Thank you for having me again.
Okay, bye-bye.